Let's keep it in the K-Wave News Zoom room. We'll go over to Miss Maria Pangelinan of the Guam Election Commission. Good morning, Miss Maria. Unmute, unmute.
Good morning.
Bananas of
Good morning.
Half a day.
So, Miss Maria, we wanted to bring you up just to play a little catch up real quick because I know that you said that you guys were working on the 2020 comparative election analysis report, and that you were going to submit it to the board, right?
Yeah, we actually submitted a draft in the meeting last month. So they are currently reviewing it. We are currently editing it. We continue to work on it to make sure that it's accurate and a comprehensive report.
And what about the financial disclosure statements? This was an issue that we'd also followed with you, and there's been a development, right?
Okay, so for the first time, the financial disclosure statements were forwarded to the Guam Ethics Commission. So the law requires that the Guam Election Commission forward the FDS reports to them. So this was the first time we've done it. As we continue to receive them, we continue to submit them to the Guam Ethics Commission.
How many did you submit?
I don't have a count, and as you can tell, I'm not in the office yet. I'm here in the parking lot. But almost everyone everyone complied with the deadline, and then people are slowly submitting it. For those that requested extensions, they have up until October 19th to submit their FDS, their financial disclosure statements.
So what, does the Guam Ethics Commission have like a forensic auditor that they can go through this stuff? And that wasn't even a joke.
We continue to dialogue. Executive Director Jesse Kenga. In fact, we spoke with him yesterday as they continue to receive it. So, we're putting the standard operating procedure in place to make sure that we comply with the law. So that's an evolving process. We've, as soon as we found this out, and to make sure that we are complying, we are watching out. I believe the law was passed to make the Guam Ethics Commission independent and autonomous as well. So we're going to review that. I don't know if the governor has signed it yet, and we will make sure that the Guam Election Commission's processes that are affected by maybe even the new law we want to make sure that we meet all the requirements.
What about posturing for the 2022 elections? Has that already begun, Ms. Maria?
Actually, we start that July 1st, but Chris and Bree, we've gone through an invitation for bid for our office space. So that we issued a notice of intent to award. And that's going to keep us busy, I think, because if the process goes through, we won't be at the GCIC building come October 1st.
So where will you be?
The Oka Building in Tamuning, the Oka Building bid came in the lowest bidder and responsive as well. So they met all our needs on paper. We are waiting for the build up so that they can we can see if they will build it up to the specs that we've requested. They have up until October 1st to do that.
Oka Building, which one? Sorry, Brie. Plenty buildings in Oka.
The Oka Building is right next to Mega Drugs. If you're heading to St. Anthony, it's the Payless, and then Mega Drugs, and then the Oka Building. It houses the Oka Pharmacy.
Is it like a circular kind of building?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
in the front, that's what it looks like.
Okay. What was the why'd you guys why'd you guys move out of GCIC? Was it just something like it wasn't able to accommodate what you guys need for the next election, or?
No. We went through the procurement process, and Oka Building came in the lowest bidder and responsive as well, which means yes, GCIC bid as well, but because we had to follow the procurement rules and say, okay, so let's see who met all our requirements, and based on that, we look at the people that met all our requirements, went out and got some more information, and then we've through the process of the evaluation, we found out that the Oka Building was responsive and the lowest bidder.
Okay. Sorry, Bree, go ahead.
I wanted to follow up on something. Is the Guam Election Commission or the board recommending to continue early voting for the next election and onward?
We've left that up to the legislature. Right now, the law stands that if we do it 30 days before the election, but only for those with excuse. So I've heard, and there is a bill that has been introduced for early voting. So we're going to watch that closely as well.
Maria, for candidates or potential candidates that have had fundraisers, have they all been filing their reports? Or do you have any
I think we only have one organizational report for 2022. I think we only have one that I can think offhand. And so that's all we know. Current elected officials and others who had a deficit or had a surplus from 2020, they continue to file supplemental reports. Those supplemental reports will turn into organizational reports once they start campaigning for 2022.
Right, and so how soon after, if I hold a fundraiser today, how soon after is there a time that I need to file my financial reports with the GEC?
So if you've received contributions or had a fundraiser or spent money, spent $250 or more, you have to report within 10 working days.
All right. So that organizational report that was filed, who filed it?
That's for the re-election of Lou and Josh.
Okay, so they held a fundraiser on the day that the bars open. Did they file their report within those 10 days?
Actually, the report was filed earlier than that.
Nice.
And yeah, it was filed, I believe, in 2019. So there must
2009. How could they file a report in 2019 when the fundraiser was in 2021, right? Correct?
Yeah, I think you filed you filed the org report, and then that's when if you spend 250 or more, you file that organizational report. So they did that in 2019. So that means that they don't have to file anything on the fundraiser they had when the bars opened until what, Miss Maria, 10 days before the primary?
That's correct.
Right. I'm practically an expert.
10 days after the fundraiser.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
no.
That was 10 days after the fundraiser.
No, but she said if they spend 250 or more, they have to file 10 days after that. But they already did that in 2019. So they had some other event in 2019 where they spent $250. So then they filed that org report. But there should be a law though, Miss Maria, where the frequency of filing is increased, because what ends up happening is you guys get these reports dumped on your head 10 days before the primary while you're preparing for the primary, and you can't ever look them over. I've done these stories
Yes.
on the campaign finance. It's nuts.
So Chris and Bree, that's one of our priority recommendations
Right.
to change the filing dates for campaign finance. So our recommendation is that we follow the Federal Election Commission of once you file an organizational report, then you'd be required to file a quarterly campaign finance report.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so and that's what we and so that will get us, the Guam Election Commission, some time to review it and get back to the candidate to say, okay, please make sure next time you do this correctly.
Right. Yep. Well, that's one area that definitely our island could use a lot of improvement is campaign finance. It's just the wild west in a lot of ways.
Yeah, Chris and Bree. So part of the election comparative analysis report, as required by law, what's also required by law is that we submit recommendations. So to update and upgrade the law. So that's one of them. That's one of the recommendations we have. With the early voting law, we've left it alone because there's already a bill that's passed. But a second recommendation that we have that we hope they take up is that for the nonpartisan candidates, if you remember, nonpartisan candidates for the Attorney General and the Public Auditor, they're always on the primary election. Okay. That generates a lot more expenses. And so one of the things that we're looking at, and I don't, we just want to present to the legislature that what happens when when that mandate is removed, that they just run in the general, if there's only 2 candidates already. So the current law says that if there are 2 candidates, the 2 highest vote getters in the primary election goes on to the general election. What we want to do, what the Guam Election Commission wants to do is, if there's only 2 candidates, then let them just go straight to the general instead of generating a second ballot sheet. So that's another recommendation. We have a few,
right?
But just to highlight probably the most immediate as far as the preparation for the election cycle goes, those are the 2 that stick out in my mind.
Well,
as we continue to look at it.
Thank you, Ms. Maria. It's been a very productive 15 minutes with you. Definitely appreciate your time.
May I put one more in?
Sure, go ahead.
Sorry. So you know that we lost 8,961 voters from the purging of voters back in January. I'm sorry. So we've done what's also keeping us busy, that every 3rd Wednesday of the month, we have volunteer voter registrar training. So we've trained some voter registrars that were deputized in 2020 and 2018. Those volunteer voter registrars can come into our office and pick up their packet. But we've also sent out voter registrars to some of the mayor's offices. So we've been encouraging the mayors to send their employees to come in and pick up their packets, so we can start the registration process.
There you go. Thank you, Ms. Maria.
Thank you.
All right.
You.
It's
Okay,
8:01.
stay safe.
Good morning. Good morning, Guam. All right. Good morning, Jason.